back in high school, like, I knew Baron from high school. We weren't really good friends back then, but we jammed out a few times, and I always knew I always wanted to play guitar with the kid. I skipped class sometimes just to be able to go and jam out on acoustic guitars.
Just me and my best friend Bryan Leger, he's the guitar player.
So yeah, we jam out a few times, but I always knew like it was meant to be like me and him, and like we like the same music and we play a similar style. Like a year or so after high school, I get a knock at my door. Baron just shows up at my house out of the blue with his guitar, and so we jammed out that night, and it was the moment too. That night that we stood up together and played one of the little riffs we were jamming on. We looked at each other, all pumped up, their guitars, and we just looked at each other. That's the moment, man. That's the moment I knew. And I remember telling him too. I was like, dude, you're like the yin to my yang.
Just jamming out together and just like having a great time, rocking out, and eventually we just started writing a few things, putting them together, and just over a span of like 2-3 years, we've just been working on some tunes.
We used to have these little Boss recorders, and we'd just do rough demos, like rough versions of the songs. And Guitar Pro too helped to structure the stuff.
Odd story. Well, not too odd. It just proves that you gotta stay nice with people and keep your connections up to date.
I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
I think it's out of Texas or something, Arizona, something like that. A place that's too hot.
Putting up covers on YouTube for fun. I guess Lyle and Baron saw me on YouTube, contacted me and showed me some music, and I liked it.
And how I found out about him months ago was I was trying to do something, a side project also after Mutiny. And I typed in, trying to find vocalists, Kill Switch Engage, cover, All That Remains cover. And one of the top ones that comes up was him, with friggin' the baseball cap on.
Me and Baron kind of did everything over the internet at first.
Finally, we had an opportunity to, try and see what could come of it.
We lucked out actually. We went to a Threat Signal concert in Montreal, and then they were hanging out for Funds after the show.
We always go to shows in Quebec, and Threat Signal would come around every now and then. We'd go see them.
Threat Signal was playing a show in Montreal, and it was after the show I met the manager, Lyle. He's also the dad of Baron. And all the kids were out, Baron, Bryan.
My dad, Lyle Pierce, he was chilling with John.
Stumbled over to the bar after the show. Like there was a bar underneath the venue. Stumbled over there. First guy I met was Lyle. Great show, can I buy you a drink? Sure, I'll take a drink.
Lyle ended up talking to John from Threat Signal and asked him, do you want to record with my son and his friend?
So we just basically sat at the bar, me and him talking music, shot after shot, got pretty drunk, and then he just started talking about his son, Baron, Blinded In Bliss, and how they wanted to record.
And John had mentioned that he was considering taking bands on with Woodward Avenue Studios.
I was like, yeah, man, I'll do it.
We were actually in a situation where we actually had some material that we wanted to record.
And he knew I was a music producer. I produced Threat Signal's album Vigilance. So we just spoke about that, and one thing led to another. The first impression is like, okay, this is a bunch of fans, they're just Threat Signal fans, and whatever, have some drinks, and that's it. Maybe never hear from him again. But he was very adamant, right on it. He was serious, so was I. So we jumped right on it, and it's cool, it worked out.
John, singer, Threat Signal. We've been in touch for quite a while now. We've known each other pretty long, and he got in touch with me since we started working a little bit together as producers. And he told me that there's this band called Blinded In Bliss who's coming into the studio, and they might be interested in having me co-producing.
And I guess we just sent him a track. John liked the song.
Bryan and Baron, I guess, sent the demos to John because he was doing producing and stuff like that, and John really liked it, so he brought him down. It was just the two of them.
I wanted to hear some songs, and he played me songs, and I was like really surprised. It sounded really good. Like the riffing was kind of different from what you hear right now. Like it was a lot of bands right now are very like breakdown based, I feel.
Pat's the bass player from Threat Signal, and we met him through John. He did a lot of the he did all the bass recordings on the album,
which sounded really fresh in my ears. So I got happily surprised and really wanted to be involved with it. And when I came there, I had a little discussion, and I ended up being a bigger part even than just being the producer, and we started working a little bit together, and I made some of the melodies for the vocals, and ended up doing vocals on pretty much the whole album as far as the melodic vocals goes.
Baron and Bryan were pretty stoked to see that I was willing to throw down some bass on the tracks and stuff. So I went in and recorded all the songs and stuff, and then it just it was really good. I was really digging it. So that's pretty much went from there. They just called me up and just play on that, and then now playing with them. So
a lot of the parts were pretty intense, and Threat Signal is a really intense technical band, and he definitely pulled it off for sure.
And I already knew Pat from our tour that I did. The last tour I did with Mutiny, we did Threat Signal and was it Dark Tranquility.
I'm a fan of Mutiny Within. Whenever they came out, I was really amazed by their material. It was definitely awesome, and Bill Fore was in that band, and I whenever they would come to Montreal, me and my pops would go check them out.
Whenever we would tour Canada, we met a kid named Baron who would always come to our shows, and his father Lyle. Eventually,
we just ended up talking to him and mingling, and that's how we first met all the people from Mutiny Within.
We kept in contact through Facebook, even after I was out of Mutiny.
Then after what happened with Mutiny Within, there was the YouTube videos of Bill, and he's just doing all this studio work with different bands, and it was just really killer, and it was definitely really awesome to even to think that you'd want to be involved with it. Really, it's awesome.
And then time came about, not even kidding, 2-3 weeks ago. The album was people had done their demo parts and they had fake program drums, and I got sent the demo tracks, I think there was 10 of them, and I thought it was fucking awesome. And then he told me, he was putting that band together, and Speed was going to be one of the vocalists, another kid from Perception of Intent.
But we essentially through YouTube and through Mutiny Within and just meeting them.
Funny enough, Mutiny toured with Soilwork, and now I'm going to be on an album where Speed is all over. I think almost every track, at least 90% of the tracks, singing hooks, singing backs, singing leads. It's fucking awesome. So that's the long and short of that.
That's Lyle, man. He's the man. Lyle. It's because of Lyle White. We're really fortunate to have Lyle, man. He's the networker. He did all the networking, met everyone, and it just all came into place so well.
It's funny how things work out.
When the world is crashing down, you can always rely on the